Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about Bray Wyatt and who he's going to sign with, or potentially sign with. And before we start this video, let's be honest. Nobody on this planet knows about the future of Bray Wyatt, other than Bray Wyatt himself. Maybe some of his close family members, friends, etc. Nobody. So you've got all these wrestling nerds, these wrestling experts, these reporters, these journalists, talking rubbish. Like, they make out that they know about his every move. Like, they don't. There was so much speculation, and I'm not going to talk about the person who was responsible for writing this article. I'm sure it's pretty obvious. Had basically hyped up AEW Dynamite this week, suggesting that it was going to be the debut of Bray Wyatt. Because it was in Rochester, New York, which is of course the former hometown of Brody Lee, Bray Wyatt's close friend. And I got invested, I'm not going to lie. I was getting excited because I'm a massive, massive Bray Wyatt fan, huge fan. I was devastated when he left the company, he was fired from WWE. So I got excited. Now, looking back at it, in hindsight, I'm glad he didn't debut this week because this show should have been all about Brody Lee and celebrating his legacy and a show of respect to his friends and family. Like, the right thing was to have the spotlight solely on him. I think if you saw a main event player like Bray Wyatt debut on that night, it would have taken away a bit of that spotlight. So I'm kind of glad that didn't happen to that extent. But remember, there were concrete reports that he's definitely going to go with AEW, even if it wasn't going to be on Wednesday night. And now, that shift a gear change, all of a sudden, he's going to sign for Impact Wrestling. That's the latest. There's nothing wrong if he does. But how do people know that? Like, where are they getting these sources from? And these sources have been incorrect before, so they're probably going to be incorrect again. So, I did a video similar to this a few weeks ago, but I didn't include Impact. So what I'm actually going to do in this video is break down the three companies, and you cannot exclude his former employee, WWE, and weigh up a few pros and cons. All right? And let's start first and foremost with AEW. What is the plus side of Bray Wyatt going to AEW? Well, it's obvious. Look at the talent pool. Look at the superstars they have on there, even the ex-WWE employees. You know, look at Danielson. You look at Omega. You've got the Dark Order. You've got the Elite. You've got Adam Cole. You've got Miro. You've got Cody Rhodes. You've got Darby Allin, amongst others. I could go on and on and on. The talent pool is crazy. He's going to have also tons of creative freedom. And also another plus side is you get to work with Tony Khan, who seems like an absolute legend. So why would you not want to go over there? Seems like the locker room is massively positive over there. Many people singing praises of how well Tony Khan has been handling that company. So why would you not want to go over somewhere where literally they're striking the iron while it's hot and they're capitalising? Like, also, from a personal standpoint, he's going to get offered a very lucrative deal, lots of dollars, and why would you not, as I said, want to work with Khan when he's going to give you all that creative freedom? So loads of plus sides. The downside could be both ways. AEW have signed a lot of wrestlers, so surely that is going to hit their wage budget. I'm assuming they don't have unlimited money, and Wyatt's not going to be cheap. So yes, money might not be an issue, some might say. However, they've definitely got a lot of momentum at the moment. I mean, we've seen Soho, Cole, Punk, Danielson in a short span of time debut. Like, they've got a lot of momentum. They don't necessarily need another major debut because they don't want to get too clogged up with all their feuds and their storylines, and they're doing a really good job. It's a well-oiled machine. It doesn't necessarily need Wyatt to come in and change things or shake things up. So that could be a potential downside. And also as well, and this will link in with Impact Wrestling, I don't think Wyatt would actually be the main event guy there, is in like the main stay player. Omega is just like incredible in my opinion, and you only need to look at that matchup between him and Danielson. Like, it really is a pure wrestling vibe over there. Now, granted, Wyatt's going to bring something new and fresh, and he's a creative genius, and he will tell a very different story to anyone else on that roster, which is going to be fresh and new. However, it's a very pure wrestling based company, and Wyatt was never his strength in the ring. I don't think he was the worst in the ring. I think people were quite critical of him in that regard. I still think he can handle his own. And but probably I could see him still doing well over there. It's only a slight criticism. Look, I'm just really getting down to the bare bones of it. Potentially there could be some limitations there in that regard in terms of where he goes. Like where's, you know, and also they book him as this sort of hocus pocus force type player. Then, you know, how does that fit in? So up in the air with that. However, overall, I think it'd be a good move if he went over there for him. I can't see him messing up. I can't see Khan making mistakes, the same mistakes that Vince did with him in WWE. So overall, a lot of pluses for him to go to AEW. Now, Impact Wrestling. We look at Impact Wrestling. It seems the choice that everybody sort of brushes to one side and thinks, I don't know, why would you want to go over to Impact? Like, why would you want to, you know, go there? I couldn't think of another word to say. But I think it's very underrated. I honestly think it is. You look at the good job that they do with dark characters over there. You only need to look at Willow and also look at broken Matt Hardy and that gimmick and how well they ran with that. That was an iconic gimmick that they did really well that WWE couldn't capitalise on. Sounds familiar. And let's not forget, he would be the main event player over there. Also, he'd have creative freedom, control. I'm sure he'd get quite a lucrative deal over there as well as the main event player. There's a great talent pool to work with as well. And I think it suits his style better, actually, personally, than over in AEW. I think it could work. Of course, we know the Forbidden Door is open over there, so you can see some cross into brands. I think there's a lot of plus sides to him going over to Impact Wrestling. Now, again, people said that he wasn't going to go there because potentially his 90-day no-compete contract runs out 6 days after the main event pay-per-view at Impact Wrestling. And I believe that's on about the 23rd of October. So why would he not go because of that? And now all of a sudden the reports are he's going to go there. So it'd be interesting. Now, the downside to it, I don't think there's too many downsides to him going to Impact, to be honest with you. But you could say it's not a brand that's on par with AEW or WWE. Some might regard it as a step down in terms of the business acumen and working for them. But I think that's really, really picky. I think there's a lot more plus sides to him going over to Impact than people give it credit for. And I think he'd shine over there, I honestly do. So I don't have too many negatives, really, when it comes to Impact, to be honest with you. And third and finally, we can't rule off WWE. And why this is obviously be a good thing, it goes without saying, we keep the Fiend gimmick. He'd actually be able to be the Fiend, or grow that Fiend, or evolve that Fiend, and actually be called the Fiend. Be called Bray Wyatt. Obviously, WWE have a lot of copyright ties to that, so he'd be able to remain in that actual character. He'd be able to keep his badass theme, Let Me In, by Code Orange as well. The band have said they'll work and flex outside of WWE, so I think wherever he goes, we're still going to hear an absolute banger from Code Orange is his theme. But we're going to see that stage presence that the Fiend gives us, the aura that the Fiend gives us, and let's face it, the lighting effects and everything in WWE are top notch. So we'd still have that. Vince is open to negotiation. I'm sure he's not going to let one of his best talents walk away unless he really has to, especially now he's got serious competition. Wyatt's worked 12 years in that company as well. Vince can be persuasive. He has been known to put the belt on him. He pushes him to the main event title picture. He's going to be able to headline WrestleManias potentially, you know, if he's booked properly. And they can undo all the wrongs with Alexa Bliss, Randy Orton, Goldberg, come in, destroy Goldberg, destroy Reigns. I don't care. Like, get your revenge in some way. That would certainly give the character a much needed refresh, and it'd be like a fresh reset. And I know people joke, obviously we know that Bray Wyatt and The Fiend are the same person. However, people do say he fired Bray Wyatt, he didn't fire The Fiend. So is that just the Bray Wyatt gimmick gone? We just see an evolution of The Fiend in WWE. Downsides are obvious. Why do you return to a company you've been fired for? How many times do you hear people get fired from a company and then they come back to that company in a short space of time? I don't think you can fully rule off him potentially returning to WWE in the future. However, it's kind of damaged goods a little bit in some regards, what they've done with the theme within WWE. So rebuilding that would take some time. Fans will be behind it, no doubt, but obviously a lot of people will I think they'll downplay it if he went back to WWE. I think people want to see him somewhere else with more creative control and freedom, and where he can shine somewhere else. So I know it's a long way to go through this video in terms of speculating and breaking it down, but I thought it'd be really useful to do that. And also, like, ask yourself the question right now. If you had to bet money on where he was going to go, where would you bet the money that where he's going to go? And if I'm going to be honest with you, I'd probably say right now, I could see him going to Impact Wrestling. If someone literally put a gun to your head and said, right, you got 2 seconds to let me know where he's going to go, I'd say Impact Wrestling. I just don't know why. I've got a gut instinct he's going to go there. And originally, this is not down to clickbait articles. I just think he'd be well suited there. And of course, we've got the whole Braun Strowman connection, which we didn't mention, which could potentially happen if he goes there. Who knows? Who knows? The truth is, none of us know. But I would like to hear what you think. So get down in the comment section and share your thoughts and opinions. Where would you like to see him go versus where do you think he's going to go? And that's 2 very different questions. Thank you so much for watching the video. It'd be awesome if you could like the video, share the video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in another video. Hopefully, we know where Wyatt's actually going to go, or he might debut.